I was just thinking about you were mentioning our last show about Garagos and Kaepernick. Is that changing at all? Is that what's happening with all that? Does he talk about that anymore?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Changing at all is a weird way to phrase it.
Is the NFL changing its position? The player is changing its attitude about their relationship to Kaepernick, and he had a tryout and didn't go anywhere, and are they claiming that that's due to some sort of...
Kaepernick's kind of claiming to be blackballed,
yeah,
and I have no idea what's going on. All I know is he's basing his taking a knee on a lie, and I disagree with him, and I think he's doing more harm than good. And
did you talk to Garagos about that?
I do.
And what does he say?
He doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care what you think.
He disagree. Look, it's a statistical evidence that black people are not shot to any alarming degree by the cops. I mean, unarmed black people. As a matter of fact, the story that inspired Kaepernick is a crazy story, and I guess we've talked about it. But his story was a guy who was like slashing people with a knife, and cops showed up and shot beanbags at him and, pepper spray and everything else. And he was running around with this knife and he kept like slashing people. And then eventually I think a black cop shot him or something. It's a weird story to take a stand on. It's one where you have a guy with a knife. He slashed somebody. He's like threatening to slash others. And the cops tried as much non-lethal stuff as they could do, and eventually shot, I think, by a black cop. I'm not. It's a bizarre story to be inspired by. You know what I mean? Because it's not really making your argument. I don't know if Gary has any of those details. Somebody looked it up once, but it's a
San Francisco police officer, and the person in question is Mario Woods. Let me read a little bit more.
Right? Yeah, Woods story, and he said as much. I mean, Kaepernick said, "This is the story that made me." Well, San Francisco, I guess. San Francisco was probably in San Francisco at the
time.
Correct time. Yeah. And it's true. It's a black man being shot by the cops.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it was the white cops, and I don't know that the black man wasn't walking on the wrong side of the street. He had a knife out and was slashing people. Doesn't seem
inspiring.
Not if that's your cause. Find one where the guy was shot in the back,
right?
Who was an innocent, whatever, which does happen.
Yeah.
Look, everybody, as long as there's cops and as long as there's citizens and as long as the cops have guns, a very small percentage of those citizens are going to get shot by the cops. You can lessen your chances of getting shot by the cops by sort of keeping your hands on the steering wheel when you get pulled over at night and, saying things like when they say license and registration, you say it's in my glove box. I'm going to reach for the glove box right now. Like you can lessen that. If you wrestle with them or you slash people, then there's a higher percentage chance you're going to get shot. And then there's a very small percentage that you may just get shot. It may happen. It'll also be if you're in a neighborhood where more folks commit more crimes, there's going to be more of that going on. I had a cop pull a shotgun and come running at me in my own neighborhood. It's a crazy. I went into immediate, what do I do mode not to have this guy pull a trigger. I mean, this guy came flying up in a squad car, stopped 40 feet in front of me, jumped out of the car with a shotgun, pumped it, pointed it at me, and started running at me.
And what did you do?
I literally I froze, and I just put my hands out like I was surfing, like I was Gidget on top of Frankie Avalon's shoulder, like I was a net Funicello on top of Frankie Avalon's shoulders.
Yeah. Like
I went hands out. It was dark. I knew he couldn't. I certainly wasn't going to be reaching for anything in my body. My hands just went out. I had no. By the way, there should be training. There's nothing official to do other than I wanted this person to see my hands out as far away from my hips, wherever a gun could be stuffed. I had no context.
Yeah.
So I thought someone had called and said I'd robbed somebody or had a gun or was doing something, because as the cop pulled up, he pulled up on the wrong side of the street, headlights off, only one, put it in park, jumped out, shotgun pumped, holding it at his hip and coming at me. And my only context was, this guy thinks I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I just put my hands as
Did he have you lie down or?
No, he ran at me with the shotgun by his side. I stood there. He came at me. He was about 20, 30 feet away. I just stood there, no movement. I didn't want to go down. I didn't want to do anything. I just put my hands out wide and stand there. Yeah. And he ran right past me and he yelled, "Get out of here." And he was running toward a house, which evidently someone had called in something on the house. Although I just walked past the house and turned the corner. I didn't hear any glass breaking, or no one cried help, or somebody called an alarm in or something.
Right.
This guy, first off, this is horrible timing, me just walking down the street at night and him pulling up the car. I would argue protocol is don't pump the shotgun in front of the citizen as you're running at them. The guy was talking to on the phone said, what? The guy was talking to on the phone said, "Who pumped the shotgun?" Like, it was so clear, as the guy was running at me. Like, he was like, "Someone popped the shotgun." Like, I was like, "Yeah." And he was holding the barrel,
down
in the ready position. And I just happened to be standing between his destination and the barrel of the gun. I had no context other than, this is what it feels like. I thought to myself. And then all I could do is put my hands as far away from my body as I could possibly do, and no movement. That was my other thing.
Yeah, the no movement part is the hard part.
If I had grabbed the guy or gotten his face or done a shoulder roll off who the fuck knows what he would have done?
Right. Or even started running or
anything. Yeah. I could have been the one who robbed the house.
Right.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to give him, I was walking a dog, so we had the dog's black. So I had couldn't see it
so
at
he shot
night.
the dog.
It wasn't a racial thing, but I was saying, I didn't know what was going on other than I wasn't going to add one log to this fire.
Yeah.
This was a fire, and I wasn't going to add anything but sand to it.
Yeah.
And that was all I could think to do.
I think I would
move.
drop down, but who knows if that's the right thing to do or not.
I didn't want to do anything abrupt.
No, I
just wanted to stand there. What's the story, Gary? Do we get that?
Yeah, sure. You got it almost exactly right. It was a gentleman who had stabbed a citizen on the streets of San Francisco, stabbed him in the shoulder. The citizen was expected to survive. Officers responded to the scene and were flagged down by a witness who gave a description of the suspect. Several officers started searching the area. They found a gentleman who was holding a knife. They instructed him to drop the knife. He didn't. He kept moving away from the officers. He was up against a wall of a building, an apartment building or something, and they basically formed a semicircle around him to prevent him from getting away. He started moving towards one of the officers, that was up against the wall at one end of the semicircle. This was after, by the way, they had pepper sprayed him and fired a beanbag shotgun at him, which knocked him to his knee, but he didn't drop the knife.
And by the way, probably asked him to drop the knife 3,200 times.
Oh, yeah, there's video of that,
Right.
for sure. They pepper sprayed him. They fired a beanbag shotgun at him, which took him to a knee, but he didn't drop the knife. They're continuing to tell him to drop the knife. He started moving towards one of the officers at the edge of the semicircle, and they fired their guns at him.
Okay, and I think when you talk to the Dumbo broads of the world, or Kaepernick, they have this answer. They go, "You don't think this could have been handled better? You think you had to have a dead person here? Do you think you could have handled it better?" And it's like, of course it could have been handled better. I don't know what most people would do in the heat of that moment with the knife and a person coming at them and so on and so on. But did they have to use No, they didn't have to use their guns. But let's approach it from a different angle. Don't you think the guy had ample opportunity to drop the knife? And then they go, "Okay, but that person's nuts." And you go, "Well, okay, but the knife isn't imaginary." When the person thinks they're Napoleon, he's not really Napoleon. You understand? He's nuts, but he thinks he's Napoleon. But the knife cuts flesh. So what are we to do at that point? And my answer is, there's really, if this is the way it's going to go, if you're going to get a knife out and you're going to have a bunch of guys with guns. They don't even have to be cops. Just folks with guns who are surrounding you, and they're going to ask you to drop the knife 300 times. You're never going to do it. Eventually, you're going to move toward one of them. Probably going to get shot. But I don't count that as cops executing innocent people on the street. Also, can we look at it from this standpoint? What about folks that are walking home from Starbucks and they get stabbed by this guy in the street? Are any sympathy for those folks? What about the folks that are being slashed by the stranger in the street? What are they? Who's looking out for them? Who's taking a knee for them? What shall we do with them? Do they have rights? Or what are we to feel about folks that are picking up their kids from school and get stabbed?
I'd be curious what Mark says about this. You got to bring it up.
He'll never answer this. You know, the thing about
do you yell at him when he goes silent? Will you yell at me?
No, he doesn't go silent.
What's he do?
He never goes silent. Look, the one thing you got to learn about lawyers, all lawyers are the same, like all politicians are the same. If they don't want to answer the question, they don't answer the question. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go find someone. Someone's trying to ask Joe Biden about Hunter Biden and Burisma and his what's going on over there. Tell me if you ever get an answer.
Right.
There's no answer. Right. They start asking questions, and then they start making proclamations. And there's no shred of evidence. There's nobody says, you know. They're like, it's funny. So someone is going, what's going on with your son? I think there's corruption. And then the answer to that is nobody says that. And it's like, right, except for me. I'm asking.
I'm saying it.
But nobody says that.
Right.
Right. So it's like me going, hey, why are you late all the time? Nobody says I'm late. You know what I mean? Like,
no one dare suggest that.
If Garagos doesn't want to answer a question, Garagos is not going to answer the question.
Right.
That's number one. The first day of Law Academy, they teach you how to not answer questions. You ever seen a lawyer like intellectually answer a question? He won't do it. But also, that's his client. He gets to do whatever he wants is the answer. He doesn't have to agree with him. He's not going to say anything.